I just found something amazing. It's total proof that the airlines that are missing and everything are pre-programmed. I mean, for whatever reason, I thought of the movie Castaway because of the airplane, and I couldn't remember where the airplane got lost. Only movie I could think of, I guess. And then, as I was reading here, I guess this movie was based. This movie caused the TV show Lost. But anyway, so this movie, the plot, I'm going to actually show the movie, but I can't play the sound, otherwise it's going to get canceled out. So you can watch the movie, and I'll tell you the parts where they say stuff. But basically, he has to leave Christmas with relatives because he works for FedEx, and he has to go resolve a problem in Malaysia. Malaysia, the missing airlines. Are you kidding me? So his plane gets lost in the South Pacific, and he has to resolve a problem in Malaysia, of all places. So also, he works for FedEx, right? It gets way better here. He works for FedEx, and FedEx was founded by Frederick W. Smith. And this guy was born on August 11th, so there's your 88, 1944. He also went to Yale University, and he became the president of Delta Kappa Epsilon, and he's a member of the Skull and Bones Secret Society. So also, if you add up FedEx, like F is the 6th letter, E is the 5th letter, it equals 44. FedEx is 44. FedEx was founded in 1971. 71 in the mirror of it, 17 equals 88 when you add it together. The name FedEx is a syllabic abbreviation of the name of the company's original air division, Federal Express, which was used from 1973 until 2000. So there's your 73 that's connected with the 88s and is from the air division. All right, this movie, before I even get in here, is 143 minutes long, which if you do that by hours, it's 2 hours and 23 minutes long. So there's your Skull and Bones number, your 223 or your 322. All right, so right off the bat here, this FedEx guy delivers a package or picks up a package to take, and the song "All Shook Up" by Elvis Presley comes on the radio here. Elvis Presley died in 1977, so there's a double 7. He was born in Tupelo, Mississippi on 88th degree west. So even better, the song "All Shook Up," it's not actually on any album, it's only on like compilation albums. So the single was released on March 22nd, 322. It was on April 13th, it stayed on number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 8 weeks. It was ranked 352 on Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. 352 is 88 times 4, or 8888. 4 8s, right? So also we have the Air Asia flight that's missing now, right? And then it's number 8501. And the other 2 flights that were in the news this year were the Malaysia 370 and the Malaysia 17. 8501 plus 370 plus 17 equals 8,888. So 8501 plus 370 plus 17 equals 8888. On the song "All Shook Up" too, Otis Blackwell was one of the composers, him and Elvis, and he, well, it says 31 there, it says 32 over here, so maybe, whatever. Says here he's born in 32, so there would be your Skull and Bones again, and he's 71 years old, dies in 2002, there's your 22, and then 71 I already talked about. And right here, just very beginning of the movie, Tom Hanks' character says, "Never lose track of time. It's a sin to lose track of time. He does a whole bunch of time references. Says time rules over us with no mercy. All kinds of stuff. But then the clock here says 2:11, or he even mentions that it's 1:56. And they flash twos a lot in the beginning, at least. I haven't even watched this whole movie, but so there would be your 22 or your 112 or your 211. And then in a second here, they show a deal up here and it flashes a time. But like when there's a 3 up here, it flashes a 33 and then a 33 and then a 33. And then when it stops, it says 3406. So I looked that up and it's the feast day for Pope Lucius I, and he was the 22nd Pope. So you got 211, which is a 22, and then they reference the 22nd Pope if you look up the date that the clock makes. And then a few minutes later, he says, in 3 hours and 2 minutes, we have to get all these boxes on the big truck. So it's another 32 reference. Right here, he calls his wife and tells her whatever, he's going on the trip or whatever, or a different trip than the one he wrecks on. But he mentions, we're leaving in about 2 minutes. So there's another 2 reference. And then right when he hangs up the phone, he says, Nikolai, tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. So I don't know if that's like a Tesla reference and something to do with time and time travel. I really don't know, but it's just kind of weird that he says that out of nowhere. And then they're having their family Christmas dinner, and he gets a page, and he finds out he has to leave to go on this trip to Malaysia or whatever. And she mentions multiple times, like, just make sure you're back before New Year's. So I don't know if that's a signal or something, but she does say it, I think 2 or 3 times. She says, just make sure you're back for New Year's. Make sure you're back for New Year's. So then they go to the airport, and they're going to give each other their Christmas gifts here before he leaves. But they're playing another Elvis song, or it's not actually Elvis, but it's made famous by Elvis, and it's the Blue, Blue Christmas song. And I looked that song up, and the single was released November 9th, 1964. So there's a 9/11 reference, but it was also on his Christmas album. And the Christmas album came out in 1957, so the single didn't come out until 64. But anyway, the album was released October 15th, 1957. And October 18th or 15th is the 288th day of the year. So there's your 88 and your 88 again. And there's 77 days remaining until the end of the year. And Elvis died in 1977. Then they give each other their Christmas presents. They give each other their Christmas presents, and he winds the clock and says, this is the present, I guess, but he winds the clock and says he's only going to leave it on Memphis time. And the only number that you can see where the hand is, it's pointing towards the 2. So another 2 reference. And then when he boards the plane or whatever, he goes through security gate 2. And this is the part right here that blew me away. He's on the plane and he wakes up because there's turbulence. And he wakes up and he asks the guy, where are we? And he says, I don't know, somewhere over the Pacific. And then he said, haha, you pilots. And then he comes and he listens to the pilots. And this pilot is reading off a bunch of stuff. And he says, Tahiti Control to FedEx 88. The plane that they are flying on is called FedEx 88. And FedEx adds up to 44, and then the number's 88. So it's the FedEx 88 that crashes, and they're going to Malaysia. And he also says, position Jenna 1526. If you add up Jenna, and they do show it in here, it's JENNA, it equals 44. He also says 1620, Eric is next. On the newest plane that is missing, there was 162 people, and he says 1620, Eric is next. And the other thing I noticed he says is fuel 9 to 5.5. So they threw in the 55, 95, 59 reference in there as well. I mean, this movie is from the year 2000. What are the odds? I mean, why is the flight called FedEx 88? And this year has been all about the 88s and missing planes. It's the FedEx 88. FedEx, it adds up to half of 88. They say position, I think Jenna, which is 88 or 44. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. It's pre-programmed. Tom Hanks even right here says, "Hey, is all this turbulence from Santa and his 8 tiny reindeer?" In the year 2000, most people assume there's 9 reindeer, right? So why would he mention the 8 reindeer? I mean, come on. So they had to throw in another 8 reference as well. So then the plane crashes and all that, and he survives, and he finds the dead body, and he looks at his wallet, and the wallet says that this guy, Albert, was born on 9/6 of 49. That is September 6th, which there are 116 days remaining till the end of the year. So there's another 9/11 or a 66 reference. And the other date on his thing here is his FedEx thing, and it says 9/23/87. September 23rd is the 266th day of the year. So you're 66 and 99 days remaining until the end of the year. 99, if you flip it upside down, it's 66. So then Tom Hanks writes this guy's name up, and he writes 1950 to 1995. His ID clearly said 49, but maybe he's just rounding it up to 50. But anyway, it's just 1995 must be when this movie took place then, the setting of the movie. And that is a 5995 reference, which actually makes 666. So he finds all these FedEx boxes and the wash up shore, and he opens them all up except for this one. And then he looks at this picture and he rubs it or whatever. But I mean, it's a total Saturn reference. I don't know if these are supposed to be like angel wings or what, but I mean, it's got the rings on it. It's a Saturn reference. And I don't. Maybe he opens it in a second. This as I go. So then he cuts his hand or whatever, and he makes a face out of this Wilson ball, and it ends up being his best friend through the movie. And Wilson, the W, is 23, Skull and Bones reference. Then he makes fire, and he starts singing the Doors song, "Come on, baby, light my fire," right? Jim Morrison, the lead singer of the Doors, died in 1971, and he was born in 1943. That would have made him 71 years old this year, and he died in 1971. Also, the song "Light My Fire" was on the Doors album that came out in 1966, and it is track 6. So 666. Right here, he finally is gonna build a raft, and he counts the wood here, and he says 22, 44. We're gonna need 44 lashes. So I mean, it's the numbers that go with 88, 22, 44. The reason he can build a raft is because he finds a thing for a porta potty that he can use as a sail. And the sail, it says it's from Bakersfield, California, and Bakersfield, California is on 119 degrees west, so 9/11 again. And he's trying to build the rope or whatever for the deal, and he mentions time again. He's obsessed with time. He says, that doesn't leave us a lot of time. We can't turn our back on time. Basically, time controls everything, and the 88s and the 8s go with time, and he mentions it multiple times in this movie. He says, "We live and die by time. Let's not commit the sin of turning our back on time." So then right here, he's getting ready to take off to sea, and he writes that he was here for 1,500 days. 1,500 days is 4 years and 40 days. So there's another 44 reference. It's just crazy. I'm gonna make a part 2. I ran out of time, so stay tuned. Have a great night.